Welcome back to the Project Nomad. I'm Robert, and here's a quick and dirty of what I'm trying to do right now. So ever since we finished up the ARB front bumper build on the 4Runner, we took the Smitty built winch that was currently inside the Suburban and hooked it into that bumper. So the Suburban's been winchless since, but recently we picked up this Gen 3 X2O Smitty built winch, but we're currently trying to install it right now. So what we've currently done has been we've clocked the switch control for the free spool and spool. We've taken off most of the plastic cladding to get to the lugs and take off the actual control box. And we are now currently extending the cabling so we can relocate this winch box to a different location. The main reason that we're doing all of this is because there's some compatibility issues between this winch and the bumper that's currently up front. I'll explain that in more detail once we get to the front, but let's just say clocking it is not the issue. It is the positioning of the winch control switch here and the box. Up front in the ARB bumper, if you were to mount it correctly in this way, which it should be, as the winch line is actually pulling inwards from the bottom now, because as this is clocked, it's going to be mounted on its side. The only place that the control box would reasonably have to be is also right on top of where the engage and free spool lever is. And I'll show you that up front right now. Here's the bumper up front. It's an ARB bumper made for the Tahoe, Suburban, Silverado platform with different mounts. But here are the openings for the winch controls. Previously, our old winch had longer cabling and the box was set up right here in recess inside this area. But if you saw how the winch was set up already in the back of the Suburban, the control switch would also be here, so the box and the winch controller would be overlapping on top right here. Not necessarily a big issue, but it is a bit of a ergonomics issue for us, and I'd rather have that streamlined. What we currently have planned is to make a bracket off of the original bracket that was here and have the winch box placed centered here. And that's the main reason why we have extended cables, so that we can run the cabling all the way to the back and have no issues there. Let me bring you back to the winch and show you what the mounts look like. The control box has a few mounts that I can use to relocate the control box itself. One set was these flat brackets that originally attached the control box to the top of the winch right here on the rails, but I want to keep these things if I ever wanted to use this winch for a different rig. But it did have another set of relocation brackets that would move it to a different portion of the winch, probably to the different sides. But basically the brackets would be useless for me in this situation. So what I ended up doing was cannibalizing them and welding them up together using 1-inch flat strap so that they could easily be mounted without looking to the bottom of the winch and have everything lock up correctly. But I also added this elongated piece of flat strap as well so that I can mount it to the bumper's winch control box mount. This was the original mount from the bumper for the other winch box, and I can basically flip it upside down and then clock it 180 degrees so that it can be towards the center of the bumper itself. And then I drilled some holes to match the already made holes on the mount, and then I can just key them together and put some bolts through and have this thing sitting pretty right on the middle of the entire bumper. And the only thing I have to do is create some elongated cables so that the lugs on the winch can go all the way to the lugs on the control box. And that's pretty much all I have to do, so I'm gonna get to it. I'm extending the cabling using 4-gauge automotive wiring, using about 3 feet for each replacement, with copper terminals connectors at each end. I'm using this gauge because it's an appropriate replacement for the stock cabling, but because of the size of the gauge, I'm having to use a hydraulic crimper to actually help me out and actually get these ends on. So with the crimps done, all I did now was just add wrapping and heat shrink to 2 of them, and then I'm pretty sure I'm going to add the red heat shrink to this one as well. But this is just so that I know which cable goes where in the grand scheme of things, so that because these things are color coded, they have to go to a specific lug, and I just want to make sure these things go to the correct one. So that's basically all the reason I'm doing this color coding. But yeah, I'm gonna finish up with the red ones, and then I'm gonna mount this up into the box. I got everything wired up and packed together again. It is a very large bundle that I have here. This is supposed to just go to this box, but I made it 3 feet long so that I have the ability to route it and not chafe anywhere, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. The box over here is set up already. Again, I think I will be repainting this after. I just need it to work for now because I'm heading off for a trip soon with the Suburban. I just want to get everything usable and practical at the time being. Right now, everything is set. All the tools I have are ready. I'm just going to start getting everything into position and start actually mounting this up. So I got the winch installed finally onto the Suburban. It took a little bit to actually get it on, mainly due to the fact that there's some tolerance issues that we have, mainly having to do with the shift lever here. It is actually slightly way too long on either side. It is almost contacting even on the uncut side. On top of that, mounting the winch inside without having to dismount the bumper itself and then install it was a bit of a pain. The frame mount just being slightly long enough that it's blocking the main entrance way. And then talking about the prelude and the mounting of the winch to the front face, the hardware they provided was slightly too short for this bumper, so I had to go out and go get a different set of bolts. But overall, it's just problem solving, and you just have to go through it and deal with what you need to do in order to get your winch to fit. But right now, the winch fits correctly and everything's good to go. The line's all the way in. Need to re-engage it. Overall, the experience of installing winch isn't that bad. You do have to be aware that you might be doing some problem solving to get everything in, whether that be removing the bumper, modifying the bumper, or modifying the winch itself to fit everything correctly. So long as everything is flat and secured to the mounting faces, you're good to go. And overall, this winch is pretty good, so we're not going to complain about that. But yeah, that's basically it. So thank you for watching, and if you enjoy this type of content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, be safe and tread lightly.